All right. Ugh. Just kind of thinking about the circumstance that just transpired.
What was said? What?
Well, it wasn't just what was said, but just kind of like the collection of things and thinking about. So they're upset. What are they upset with? God knows. I let the other officers that they left. Okay, so they said some shit. They're like, PD, they don't do this, and da-da-da-da, and a lot of like random shit was said, like a lot of incoherent arguments as to why we're doing things that we should not be doing. I think at the end of it, there's a statement made to Eryn about, I hope she gets demoted or something, and takes away his best wishes. Some of the officers seemed a little struck by it, including Eryn. I'll let him know that.
What exactly was said?
Something about like, do you remember how Kit and I like congratulated you on the promotion? Well, we take that back, and I hope either she gets demoted or fired or something to that effect. I didn't really take too much heed to it. Apparently, there was also an exchange between Tony, the lawyer, and Eryn. Maybe something like that. I didn't hear all of it, but Tony, came to me and said, make sure she's all right. Erin's upstairs right now. As for the other officers, they were a little like taken aback by a lot of it. I let them know that, we're not customer service at Walmart. Our job is not to make them feel good. They're in the cells. They're going to feed you bullshit. And sometimes they're going to feel wronged. And it isn't our place to, pat them on the ass and like change their diapers. Right. There's a line, right? If they want to understand why the charges happen, yeah, we're going to explain it. Are they owed due process? Absolutely. But if they're bitching and crying, don't feel obligated to entertain it. And, as long as it's done professionally.
Absolutely. I mean, I have to agree with what's going on, but as long
transparently, I did at the end of it tell Ray, and I get a little defensive sometimes. I told him that I get it. He got packed up by the besties, but he doesn't need to take it out on the police department.
That kind of stuff would leave out to you then.
Yeah, it's
it's taking a back situation that we're doing our job, and you're now throwing fuel.
I know. It's
try to hold those comments back, okay?
I'm gonna try, sir. I will, sir.
All right.
I have this like ear issue today. For some reason, every so often, I'm hearing like remixing.
Remixing.
Yeah, it's kind of like when someone's talking and it kind of seems like their throat's cutting out a little bit. Yeah.
I haven't experienced any of that today.
I think it's just me.
I was talking to Mayor earlier. He was having some issues like that too.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Must be something in the wind.
I don't know if it's just yeah, maybe it is. We probably share similar cell phones. Yeah, I was mostly just thinking about like how we arrived at this, right? And by this, I mean, what I was asking myself is, I am very pro. We should not have to accept a bench trial if the scene and circumstances are complicated enough, right? However, I do believe that we self-inflicted this case today, right? And that puts me at a bit of a crossroad. Now, this is just my opinion, right? I don't know nothing more than that. So I'm just kind of fighting it in my head, thinking, when a scene is involving two separate groups, this is a complicated scene. There's a bank truck. There's, this rusty guy. There's the besties. There's Hydra. There's evidence. There's fucking between them a shitload of vehicles. Yes, it's complicated, but we equally don't help ourselves when, and this is kind of based on some of what I heard from Eryn and in that circle, is Eryn felt very annoyed, rightfully so, that some of those that she would have needed their statements and eyewitness testimony had already gone to another call. And I told her you are well within your right to pull them off that call unless it's a 78. But even thinking about this circumstance, I think when the call is that complicated, it is everyone's duty to come down in the cells, kind of like I did. I didn't come down here just to do the tea. I was on the call. I came down here to make sure everyone's got their shit. And only until after I'm like, hey, they have everything from me, or maybe they don't need my statement right now, or whatever it is, only then do I go back out. Right? And
yeah, I agree. And it shouldn't be every situation, but at least coming down, helping transport, making sure everybody gets to where they need to go safely, and then coming down and saying, okay, does everybody have their charges sorted? Is there anything we need? Talk about, get huddle real quick. Good, everybody's got charges. Okay, let's get back out there.
It's
and the people who don't have a suspect break off.
Yeah, it could be something as simple as a 2-minute check-in, and it solves this notion too, because like even if someone attached at the end, they may have vital information, right?
So I guess devil's advocate there a little bit too. I also don't want 25 people in holding cells for 30, 40 minutes arguing charges.
1,000%
It's got to
agree.
be structured, and it's got to be the point, and everybody gets out. If you're not involved.
I think if someone were to come down, and we should know who the scene lead is, right? And you come down, hey, do you guys need us? Do you need me? At least give them the opportunity to say yes or no, and then boom, boom. You know what I mean?
Yep. Actually, can you touch on that? This coming meeting in 20 minutes? Shift 2 meeting?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Just
briefly go over that and try to touch on that, because I think that'd be good. People should be thinking that way.
Yeah,
they're down there for a reason, not just loitering. Truly.
I agree. Yeah, 1,000%. I fully agreed with what you said about gang-related shooting. Before you had come over, I said pretty much the same thing. I don't want to be that guy, but gang-related shooting came into place a long time ago to deal with these exact circumstances. I know times have changed. It's always why it's existed. The intent of that charge was that we don't have to go out of our way, break our back, collecting evidence all over the world when two documented gangs are in conflict, whether it's a gang war or whether it's some bullshit like this. It's simplification, so we're not dealing with these it was a timeout charge.
Yeah, and I would have pushed that further if we hadn't already sent people up and people pled guilty to charges that would. We can't charge the same group, the same incident, different charges.
Yeah,
at the exact same spot, right?
1,000% agreed.
I don't know how we address this either, because they were processed up in the county.
We do the right set of charges, and we say we don't agree. I'm only kidding.
Yeah, that's makes us all look bad.
No, right? I am only joking.
Okay. Yeah. We just got to be able to communicate. But someone charging them, I don't know if there's some sort of communication, to be honest, between Eryn and the people up at BCSO. I don't believe there was. But there needs to be a lot of communication. We should all be on one channel, communicate, even if we're at separate places. So,
I will say, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. I can understand that some of these individuals may have been caught an hour prior, and
that's a real thing too.
Yeah. So
and then that person that's processing probably wasn't even involved in the initial situation.
Yep. And they may not have the context. We may not actually have all the evidence yet, right? Like, let's say hypothetically someone died
before all the evidence was entered, even physical evidence, let alone the situation was still being chased.
Shit is.
So what? Now we hold people for an hour and a half and wait till your friends get caught?
I think
we can't do that.
I think the real reason is shit's fucking hella soft served right now. And what I mean by that is, like, listening to gangbangers, like, I'm just permission to speak a little openly.
Go for it.
I I could not believe that I was listening to a fucking gang member in the cells earlier today. Like, that was some of the most soft serve shit I've heard in a minute. I mean, they were like, "Oh man, is that in your SOPs? You fucking, KJ got frisked and he didn't have a gun, and then they found oxy, and then like, yo, just because you should press the charges, you can press the charges. It doesn't mean you should." And I'm just like sitting over here like,
More
bitch,
people
I
telling us
will
how to do
slap
our
you.
job.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's like a level of receptiveness to it, which I'm not a fan of. Because the fuck does this guy know? He's married to a terrorist. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
truthfully, what happens is you get people who aren't confident in their job, and then they start backing off and they start questioning what they're doing.
yes, exactly
And
that.
then they come off and start saying, and they sound. If
Yes,
they're not confident in what they're doing, then they're going to start to back off of the charges they're pushing. Whatever the
absolutely.
conversation is,
And
so.
then all of a sudden it gets standardized, right? Not officially, but standardized like culturally within the police department. It creates a weird, odd scenario. Like, I had this thing with the clowns, right? Where I attached to a 78's call, and it started turning very ha ha he he. I ended up having to execute some dude, not execute, but shoot him across the way when he pulled out the shotgun, and then the whole thing with like putting Chatterbox in a cell. And there was a feeling of like, we need to treat them delicately, like they're special people. And I'm like, no, if you treat the clowns different and more ha ha he he, when they're literally dealing with murking cops with class 2s and Molotovs, then you go charge the besties a different way and go harsher on them. Well, then you're playing favorites, right? And you now get into these circumstances where Hades was in the cell, and they were like, man, we went so easy on them. Now they're going to find out. They were threatening to kill us.
That's what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very close to just authorizing class 2s on every single call. I'm extremely close to it. Every call we've dealt with, every single situation involving violence right now is involving class 2s. It's involving extreme violence, large amounts of car swaps. It might be time to start putting some teeth on this PD here.
I'm going to play devil's advocate again. I'm all for that. I also think that part of our issues are heavily self-inflicted. Getting properly aggressive, not giving up. That when those swaps happen, that we do get those 120, pit calls earlier. Learning to box the vehicles, not playing games. Blocking the passenger side door, knocking that pickup vehicle away. Like little things like that, right? And I say that because, yeah, there's a lot of swaps. But a lot of us are not drilled enough to know how to stop it. So I think if we reintroduce like even some amount of drills every week, like twice a week, I mean, I'll fucking run some of them, like genuinely.
What do you mean by drills?
I want to do box drills. I don't think most people know what the box looks like. You got an interfering vehicle, you say box this. You show them what are the physics, right? Where does the one car go? Where does the other one go? How do you prevent it from popping out, right? How do we get that? What is the fifth unit that's watching going to do? They watch out for the interference. How do they stop them from getting in, right? Little things like that. So they're not having to figure out in the moment how to deal with the pickup car and how to deal with the box,
I agree. I don't think this needs to be scheduled. I think you go grab 4 or 5 people and you say, let's go to the LSI. Let's do it right now.
Okay. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah. Just
start
grab
tomorrow.
People. If you want a spot training or you see somebody doing something wrong, grab them and pull them to the side. Hey, you, and you come with me to LSI right now. Go
okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like that.
And just, little by little, as you see people failing, then do it. A big thing I see right now is, I don't know if people don't understand the way their push bar and that bubble bumper there works. They are ramming the ever loving hell out of it.
Yes!
I don't understand why people get pissed off. I understand it, but we need to control it. People got to control it.
I agree.
It escalates the situation. Now it goes both ways. but we got to be careful there too, right? People need to understand how to use it, both as an offensive and a defensive tool. So
I've found
that's
that
something you're going to cover.
I will 1,000% because 50% of the boxes I witness are unboxed because for some reason, listen, this is me speculating. We have 2 vehicles. We need a 3rd vehicle to box. I said, come box it. Vehicle comes in and smashes the car out of the box.
Yep.
And part of me thinks, I wonder if when people hear box, or they actually think we're trying to disable the vehicle by damaging it. Like, I cannot, it reminds me of back in the day where we used to shoot the driver. There was a shoot the car to disable it. You probably don't remember this, but we used to shoot to disable. And when we used to shoot to disable, people would accidentally, quote unquote, shoot the driver. And I'm telling you right now, Chief, that shit was not an accident. So my point there being that I think psychologically, I think some units are coming in with the box and being like, just in case it breaks out, let me just damage it a little bit. But I will cover that.
All right. I think that'd be good. I think it'd be good to cover. Yeah, I don't think people understand how to use that bumper. So, and how deadly it is. What do you got?
Ray Romanoff, so nice up until this point. Fuck the police. Well, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not too worried about them. I've preemptively already tracked all their properties since the last threat when we picked up somebody.
We have Hydra on the street targeting law enforcement. We got now them Hades. Who was the other ones?
Cypress.
Yeah. We have a few groups going for us now. We need to start being careful. And you know, like you said, some of it is self-inflicted, but a lot of it, a good portion of it's not as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is we some busy times here. Very dangerous times.
Well, yeah, not wrong.
You know, I gotta realize in a way the fact that, you know, if I were to say, hey, every officer carries a class 2, you know, keep them shouldered or even keep them, you know, at the low ready, whatever. You know, I gotta realize it's also, it is a visual escalation. It is an escalation of sorts, but due to what we're receiving now, is that going to turn into a escalation from them as well? I mean, what more can they escalate? They're already running around sweeper shotguns and class 2s. The difference is we play by rules and they don't.
I love having class 2s at the ready. Most of my career, class 2s were standard issue on our belt. On our sling, I should say. So I've been used to that time. However, I think that, let me ask you a question. If we have our class 2s unracked, are we really adding too much value?
Well, I can tell you from a handful of situations that I've dealt with, half the police force is down before we have an actual 78 call even go out.
Okay.
I've been in multiple situations now where they run with a deagle. They're fighting with a deagle. You turn the corner and they're sitting there with a shotgun now. At that point, you're sitting there with a pea shooter compared to something that's, you know, wiping people out.
My recommendation then, let me see if we can do this. Open. That if it be limited officers and that you have the officers unmag the M4. And so, you know, you got it on your sling, you pull it out and you unzip the magazine so that in the event they yoink it off you with a deagle, it's magless.
Oh, they just take your vest.
Okay, but I think our zippers are going to be a lot better soon.
Well, I don't think they should be.
Yeah.
Took 2 vests this morning with the heavy rifle and with the AR-10.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So
I think it should still be a part of the drill, though, until those zippers get tight. Because
yeah, you know, I'm actually not too against that. Put my rifle away already. Not too against that.
you know, maybe talk to Trig in the morning. Maybe get some like better zips, because I still think it's fucking wild.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Status on Opal. Good call, 2.